Mina had always loved old places. There was something about their quiet corners, their hidden stories, and the way time had left its mark that made her feel alive. She often walked past the streets of her small town, noticing buildings that had been forgotten or left behind. But one place caught her attention more than any other. It was an old workshop at the edge of the town, surrounded by tall grass and wildflowers. Its walls were covered in ivy, the windows were dusty and cracked, and the wooden doors had deep scratches as if they had seen many years of hard work. People in the town whispered about the workshop. They said it had been closed for more than 100 years. Some said it was haunted. Others said the owner had vanished without a trace, leaving the building empty. Children ran past it quickly, and even adults avoided it. But Mina felt a pull she could not explain. She imagined what had happened inside, who had worked there, and what treasures might be hidden behind the dust-covered windows. One sunny morning, she decided to visit the workshop. She pushed open the old doors, and they groaned as if warning her. Inside, the air smelled of wood and age, with a faint scent of old oil and dust. Sunlight fell through the cracks in the roof, lighting up motes of dust that floated lazily in the air. Mina's eyes widened. The workshop was larger than she expected. Long wooden tables were covered in rusted tools and broken machines. Shelves lined the walls, stacked with jars, boxes, and books, all coated in thick layers of dust. Mina carefully stepped inside, her heart racing with excitement. She imagined the workshop in its past life. Perhaps it had been full of laughter, creativity, and the hum of machines. Perhaps people had come here to build something beautiful, something that could change the town. Now all of that energy was silent, frozen in time. She started exploring. On one table she found old paintbrushes and jars of dried paint. On another there were small wooden carvings, some unfinished, some broken. She picked up a piece and ran her fingers over the smooth wood. She could almost feel the hands that had made it long ago. Every object seemed to tell a story, and Mina wanted to hear them all. While moving around, she discovered a small door at the back of the workshop, almost hidden behind a pile of wooden planks. She knelt down to look closer and found a tiny wooden box tucked under the floorboards. The box was small, perfectly preserved despite the years. Its lock was rusty, but the metal still held strong. Mina's fingers hovered over it. She felt a shiver of excitement mixed with caution. Something about the box seemed different. It was not just old. It felt important. Mina took a step back and studied it. She thought about opening it immediately, but a quiet voice in her mind told her to wait. Maybe she needed to learn more about the workshop first. Maybe there was a reason the box had been left untouched for so long. She decided to leave it for now, placing it carefully on a clean spot on the floor. Instead, she began cleaning the workshop. She swept away the dust, polished the wooden tables, and arranged the old tools. It was hard work, but Mina felt alive. Each corner she cleaned seemed to brighten, and slowly the workshop stopped feeling abandoned. By the end of the day, sunlight filled the room, bouncing off the wooden walls and floors. Mina stood in the center, hands on her hips, smiling. "This place has so much potential," she whispered to herself. "It just needs someone to bring it back to life." As she stepped outside, looking at the workshop from the garden, she felt a mixture of pride and curiosity. She could not stop thinking about the wooden box hidden under the floorboards. What could be inside? Why had nobody opened it for so many years? Mina did not know the answers yet, but she was determined to find them in time. For now, the workshop was hers, and she could already imagine the beautiful things she would create within its walls. Mina walked back to her small home, her mind full of ideas. She felt a strange connection with the old building, as if it had been waiting for her all this time. And deep inside, she sensed that the real adventure was just beginning. The next morning, Mina woke up with excitement in her heart. She could hardly wait to return to the workshop. The sunlight was warm as she walked along the narrow path through the wildflowers. She could see the old building from a distance, standing quietly, as if it were waiting for her arrival. Today, she thought she would explore even more carefully. When she stepped inside, the smell of old wood and dust greeted her. The workshop felt different in the morning light. It was calm, peaceful, and somehow alive. Mina walked slowly, touching the walls and tables. She wanted to learn every corner, every shadow, and every object in the room. Her eyes fell on the wooden box she had discovered the day before. It sat on the clean floor, quiet and mysterious. Mina stared at it for a long time. Her curiosity grew stronger with each passing second. She wondered who had made it and what could be inside. The box seemed too important to open carelessly. Mina decided she would prepare herself first, maybe find some tools that could help her unlock it safely. She moved to the shelves along the walls. Many jars and boxes were still covered in dust. She carefully cleaned a few and discovered strange tools she had never seen before. Some were made of metal, shiny but old, while others were carved from wood. She picked up a small hammer and a chisel, thinking they might help her if the box needed gentle handling. As Mina worked, she noticed something unusual. On the back wall of the workshop, behind some stacked crates, there was a faint outline of a door. It had been hidden by the clutter for decades. Her heart beat faster. She pulled the crates aside and found a door with strange carvings on its surface. The carvings looked like patterns of stars and circles. Mina ran her fingers over them, feeling a strange energy. The door was locked and the keyhole was unusual, shaped like a small circle surrounded by tiny lines. Mina's mind raced with questions. Who had made this door? Why was it hidden so carefully? And what could be behind it? She knew that exploring this hidden door could be dangerous, but her curiosity was stronger than her fear. She promised herself she would investigate it soon. But first, she wanted to understand the workshop better. For the next few hours, Mina cleaned and organized. She swept the floor, polished the tables, and arranged the tools neatly. She even found a corner that seemed perfect for her projects. She imagined herself working there, creating beautiful objects with her hands. The workshop slowly began to feel like her own space, a place full of possibilities. Around midday, Mina heard a soft noise. She froze. The sound was faint, like a whisper, but it seemed to come from the corner where the hidden door was. She stepped closer and listened carefully. There was nothing now, only the quiet hum of the wind outside. Mina shook her head. Perhaps it was just her imagination. She had spent so much time alone in the workshop that her mind was playing tricks. Still, the feeling of mystery stayed with her. Mina decided she would start keeping a notebook. She would write down every discovery, every strange detail, and every idea that came to her. She hoped that by recording everything, she could understand the secrets of the workshop more clearly. By late afternoon, Mina took a small break. She sat on a stool near the window and looked outside. The town seemed peaceful, and the sun was casting golden light over the wildflowers. She felt happy and calm, yet her thoughts kept returning to the wooden box and the hidden door. She felt that both held a story waiting to be told, a story she was meant to uncover. Before leaving for the day, Mina carefully placed the box back under the table. She took one last look at the workshop. It was beginning to feel less abandoned, more like a home for her dreams. She knew that tomorrow would bring new discoveries, and she could not wait to return. As Mina walked home, the wind carried the faint scent of the old wood and flowers. She smiled to herself. The workshop had already changed her life. She felt a sense of purpose, a feeling that she had found a place where she truly belonged. Deep down, she knew that the real secrets of the workshop were still waiting for her, and she felt ready to face them when the time came. The next morning, Mina woke up feeling excited and ready for a new adventure. She had spent the night thinking about the hidden door and the small wooden box. Her curiosity felt stronger than ever. She dressed quickly and walked toward the workshop, her mind racing with possibilities. When she reached the building, the sunlight made the ivy on the walls glow. The workshop looked peaceful and inviting, as if it were welcoming her back. Mina stepped inside, feeling the familiar smell of old wood and dust. The morning light fell through the cracks in the roof, making tiny specks of dust float like stars in the air. She smiled. This place already felt like a part of her life. Mina decided to start her day with the wooden box. She carefully picked it up and examined it. The lock was old but still strong. She tried turning it gently with the small tools she had found the day before, but it did not move. Mina did not feel frustrated. Instead, she felt more curious. She believed the box was waiting for the right moment to reveal its secret. After some time, she set the box aside and turned her attention to the hidden door at the back of the workshop. The strange carvings on the door seemed to shine faintly in the sunlight. Mina ran her fingers over the patterns again. She felt a strange energy, almost like the door was alive. She knew she needed to be careful, but her curiosity would not let her leave it alone. Mina looked around for clues. She examined the floor, the walls, and the shelves near the door. She noticed small marks on the floor, as if something heavy had been moved recently. She also found tiny scratches near the keyhole, which made her think that someone had tried to open it long ago. The thought made her heart race. She was not alone in discovering the workshop's secrets, even if it had been abandoned for 100 years. She decided to explore the rest of the workshop before trying the door. Mina moved carefully, opening drawers and cleaning shelves. She discovered notebooks filled with sketches and plans. Some showed machines she had never seen, while others had designs for strange inventions. Mina realized that the person who had worked here was not only skilled, but also very creative. The workshop had been a place of imagination and hard work, a place full of dreams waiting to be completed. While examining a shelf, Mina found an old key tied with a faded ribbon. Her heart skipped a beat. Could it belong to the hidden door? She held it carefully and looked at the intricate carvings on the door again. The key felt important, like it had been waiting for her hands. She decided to keep it close, feeling both excitement and respect for the mystery it represented. Mina spent the afternoon organizing the workshop. She cleaned the wooden tables, arranged the tools, and even set up a small corner where she could work on her own projects. The space began to feel alive again. Sunlight filled the room, casting soft shadows on the walls. Mina paused for a moment and looked around. She felt a deep connection to the workshop, as if it had chosen her for something important. Before leaving, she returned to the hidden door. She placed the key in her hand and stared at the carvings. There was a quiet anticipation in the air, almost like the workshop itself was holding its breath. Mina felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. She did not know what she would find behind the door, but she knew that she would face it carefully and with courage. As she stepped outside, the wind carried the scent of flowers and old wood. Mina looked back at the workshop, feeling a growing sense of wonder. She could not stop thinking about the box and the door. Each of them held a secret, and she felt that discovering them would change her life. Mina walked home slowly, thinking about the possibilities. She imagined what could be behind the hidden door and what the wooden box might contain. She felt that the workshop was more than just a building. It was a place of stories, of dreams, and of mysteries waiting to be discovered. That night, Mina could hardly sleep. Her mind was full of plans and ideas. She knew that tomorrow she would return to the workshop ready to uncover more of its secrets. For the first time in her life, she felt that she was part of something bigger, a story that had waited 100 years to be told. The next morning, Mina felt a sense of excitement she had never felt before. She hurried to the workshop, her mind full of ideas about the wooden box and the hidden door. The sunlight made the ivy on the walls shine bright green, and the air smelled fresh and clean. Mina pushed open the old wooden doors and stepped inside, feeling the familiar scent of aged wood and dust. The workshop greeted her quietly, like it had been waiting for her return. Mina's eyes went immediately to the wooden box. She carefully picked it up and examined it once more. The lock was stubborn and old, but Mina felt ready to try again. She held the small tools in her hands and thought about how carefully she needed to handle the box. It seemed as if it had been waiting for someone patient and thoughtful. She gently tapped the edges with the tiny hammer and nudged the lock with the chisel. Slowly, she felt the lock loosen. Her heart raced. Before opening the box, Mina placed it on a clean table and took a deep breath. Inside, she found folded papers, each covered in neat handwriting and sketches. The papers seemed old but well preserved. She carefully unfolded them and studied the drawings. They were plans for machines, tools, and strange inventions she had never seen before. Mina realized that the person who had worked here had been brilliant. The workshop was not just a place of labor, but of ideas, creativity, and discovery. As she read through the papers, Mina noticed a small envelope at the bottom of the box. It was sealed with wax and the letters SL were carved on it. She felt her curiosity grow even stronger. She carefully opened the envelope and found a small note inside. The note read, "The secret is behind the door. Only the patient will find it." Mina's heart skipped a beat. She knew now that the hidden door was more important than she had imagined. Mina decided to prepare carefully before exploring the door. She cleaned the area around it and moved the crates completely aside. She examined the carvings on the door again, tracing the patterns with her fingers. The design seemed almost alive, twisting and turning as if they held a message only someone careful could understand. She held the old key she had found the day before and studied the keyhole. The shape was unusual, matching perfectly with the key. With a deep breath, Mina inserted the key. It fit perfectly. She turned it slowly, listening to the soft click as the lock opened. Her hands trembled slightly with excitement. She had waited for this moment and she was ready. Mina pushed the door gently, and it opened with a creak, revealing a dark passage beyond. A cool, quiet air came out from inside, carrying the scent of old wood and earth. Mina stepped inside, holding a small lantern. The passage was narrow and lined with wooden beams. It seemed to go deeper than she expected. She could hear the soft sound of her footsteps echoing in the quiet space. The walls were covered with strange carvings similar to the ones on the door. They told a story, but Mina could not read it yet. She felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness, but she knew she was on the right path. As she moved forward, Mina noticed a faint light coming from the end of the passage. Her heart beat faster. She had no idea what she would find, but she felt a strong sense of purpose. Every step she took made her more determined to uncover the secrets of the workshop. She knew that this discovery could change her life, just as the workshop had already begun to. Finally, she reached the end of the passage. In front of her was a small wooden door, old but carefully made. It had no lock, only a handle worn smooth by time. Mina took a deep breath and opened it slowly. The room inside was filled with old machines, wooden models, and sketches pinned on the walls. In the center was a large table with a book lying on top. The room seemed untouched for decades, yet it felt full of energy and ideas, as if it were waiting for someone to continue the work. Mina stepped inside, her eyes wide with wonder. She had discovered the heart of the workshop, a hidden place of creativity and secrets. She knew that this room held answers to many questions, and she felt a strong connection to the person who had built it long ago. Mina smiled, realizing that her adventure was just beginning, and that the secrets of the workshop were now hers to explore and protect. Mina stepped into the hidden room with awe. The soft light from her lantern revealed the walls covered in sketches, notes, and blueprints. The tables were stacked with small machines, some broken, some perfectly preserved. Every corner seemed full of possibilities, and Mina could feel the energy of someone who had worked here long ago. She realized that this room was not just a storage space. It was the heart of the workshop, the place where creativity had been alive for decades. She walked closer to the large table in the center. On it lay a thick leather-bound book. Mina gently opened it, careful not to damage the fragile pages. Inside, she found detailed plans and descriptions of strange inventions, tools, and mechanisms. Some were simple, like new ways to build small machines, while others were unusual, almost magical in their design. Mina's eyes widened with excitement. She had never seen anything like this before. As she turned the pages, Mina found notes written in careful handwriting. They told stories about each invention, explaining why it had been made and how it could be used. Some were practical, meant to help people with daily tasks. Others seemed like experiments designed to test ideas and explore new possibilities. Mina felt a connection to the person who had written these notes. She could feel their curiosity, their care, and their passion. Among the sketches, Mina noticed a folded piece of paper tucked into the corner of the book. She carefully unfolded it and gasped. It was a map of the workshop, but not like the one she had seen before. This map showed hidden compartments, secret drawers, and places she had never noticed. One spot was marked with a star and labeled, "The real secret is here." Mina's heart raced. She had been searching for a secret for days, and now it seemed she was very close to finding it. Mina carefully examined the map. She realized that one of the shelves along the wall had a hidden drawer that she had never opened. She moved the shelf slightly and found a small lever behind it. With a gentle push, a hidden drawer slid open. Inside, she found a small, intricately carved box. Unlike the first box she had discovered, this one looked ancient with delicate patterns covering every surface. It seemed to glow faintly in the lantern light. Mina picked up the box carefully. She could feel a sense of importance and history in her hands. She knew that whatever was inside had been protected for a reason. She sat down at the table and examined the box closely. There was no lock this time, only a small latch. Mina hesitated for a moment, thinking about the warning she had read earlier in the envelope from the first box. Then with careful hands she opened the latch. Inside, Mina found something she had never expected. It was a collection of small objects, each unique and beautiful. Some looked like tiny machines, others like mysterious tools. There were also letters written in old handwriting. Mina read them one by one. They told the story of the person who had built the workshop, a master inventor who had wanted to create something special for the town. The letters spoke of dreams, hopes, and the desire to share knowledge with someone who could understand and continue the work. Mina felt a deep sense of responsibility. She realized that she had been chosen, in a way, to continue the legacy of the workshop. It was not just a building or a collection of old tools. It was a place of ideas, of creativity, and of dreams waiting to be shared with the world. She smiled, feeling proud and excited. She carefully arranged the objects from the hidden box on the table. Mina could imagine how she could use them to create new inventions, solve problems, and bring the workshop back to life. The hidden room was no longer just a secret. It was a place of inspiration, waiting for someone to explore its possibilities. Mina looked around the room, feeling the energy of the past and the potential of the future. She knew that discovering the secret was only the beginning. The real adventure was in bringing the workshop back to life and continuing the work of the inventor who had created it. Mina's heart was full of excitement and determination. She was ready to embrace the challenge, and she knew that this hidden room would guide her in ways she could not yet imagine. The next morning, Mina arrived at the workshop with a feeling of excitement she could hardly contain. She had spent the night thinking about the hidden room, the letters, and the collection of objects she had found. Today, she decided she would begin experimenting with the inventions. She wanted to understand how they worked and discover the purpose behind them. Mina carefully set up the hidden room for her experiments. She cleaned the large table, arranging the small objects and tools neatly. The soft morning light came through the cracks in the roof, illuminating the room and making the intricate carvings on the walls glow faintly. Mina took a deep breath, feeling as if she were standing at the beginning of a great adventure. She started with a small mechanical device that looked like a miniature clock. As she examined it, she realized it had tiny gears and levers perfectly connected. Mina turned a small handle, and to her amazement, the device began to move. The gears spun smoothly, and a small drawer popped open, revealing a tiny note inside. The note read, "Curiosity leads to discovery. Patience reveals the truth." Mina smiled. The inventor had left messages in every invention, guiding the person who would continue the work. Encouraged, Mina moved on to another object, a strange tool made of wood and metal. She studied the sketches in the leather-bound book and realized that the tool was designed to help with carving precise shapes. Mina tried it carefully, and soon she was creating tiny wooden figures with perfect details. She could feel the skill and care of the original inventor guiding her hands. As she worked, Mina noticed that the hidden room seemed to respond to her actions. The air felt lighter, and the carvings on the walls seemed brighter, almost like the room recognized her curiosity and effort. She realized that this place was more than just a workshop. It was a space designed to inspire, to encourage creativity, and to reward patience. Mina spent hours exploring each object and invention. Some were simple, some were complex, and some seemed almost magical in the way they worked. She took notes in her own notebook, drawing sketches and writing observations. She imagined how these inventions could help people in the town, improve daily life, and even bring new ideas to the world. By late afternoon, Mina felt a deep sense of satisfaction. She had learned so much in a single day, yet she knew there was still more to discover. She placed the inventions carefully back on the table, making sure everything was organized. Then her eyes fell on a small chest in the corner of the room that she had not yet explored. It was tucked under a pile of papers and covered in dust. Mina's heart skipped a beat. Could this be another part of the secret? She carefully opened the chest and found more objects, each unique and mysterious. Some were small machines, others were tools with unknown purposes, and a few were beautifully carved wooden pieces. Mina could feel the care and intention behind each item. It was clear that the inventor had thought of everything, leaving a legacy of creativity for someone patient and curious to find. Mina spent the rest of the day examining the new objects. She realized that each invention had a story, a purpose, and a lesson. Some taught patience, some encouraged careful observation, and some inspired imagination. Mina felt a strong connection to the inventor, as if their mind and heart were guiding her through the discoveries. As the sun began to set, Mina cleaned the workshop and stepped outside. The golden light of evening made the ivy on the walls glow, and the wind carried the faint scent of wood and flowers. She looked at the building with pride and wonder. She knew that she had uncovered only part of the workshop's secret, but she also knew that she was ready for whatever came next. Mina smiled to herself. The workshop was no longer just an old building. It was alive with ideas, secrets, and possibilities. She felt a sense of purpose knowing that she was part of something extraordinary. Tomorrow, she decided she would continue exploring, creating, and discovering. The workshop had chosen her, and she was ready to embrace its mysteries and bring its secrets to life. The morning sun shone warmly over the workshop as Mina stepped inside. She felt a mixture of excitement and determination. After days of exploring the workshop, examining inventions, and studying the hidden room, she sensed that she was close to uncovering its greatest secret. The workshop no longer felt abandoned. It was alive with possibility, and Mina knew that the most important discovery was still waiting for her. Mina began her day by reviewing the leather-bound book she had found in the hidden room. She carefully studied the sketches and notes, looking for clues that might explain the purpose of the more unusual inventions. Many of them seemed complete, but a few were unfinished, and Mina realized that the inventor had left them intentionally, as if inviting someone to continue the work. Her heart beat faster at the thought that she might be the one to finish what had been started over 100 years ago. She moved to the table where she had been experimenting with the objects. The inventions glimmered faintly in the sunlight, each one holding a sense of history and care. Mina picked up a small mechanical device she had not used yet. As she examined it, she noticed a tiny hidden compartment. Inside, there was a folded note that read, "The heart of the workshop lies beneath what you see. Follow the path of light and curiosity." Mina's eyes widened. This was a new clue, a direction that would lead her even deeper into the workshop's mystery. Mina looked around the hidden room, thinking carefully. She realized that the room itself had sections she had not fully explored. Behind one of the shelves, partially hidden under a cloth, she discovered a trapdoor in the floor. It was old, but the wood looked strong, and a faint glow seemed to come from the edges. Mina's curiosity pushed her forward. She carefully opened the trapdoor and found a narrow staircase leading downward. A cool, quiet air rose from below, carrying the faint scent of wood and earth. She took a deep breath and began her descent, holding her lantern high. The stairs led to a small underground chamber. It was different from any part of the workshop she had seen before. The walls were lined with shelves filled with jars, boxes, and small inventions, all meticulously arranged. In the center of the chamber was a pedestal with a large, beautifully carved wooden box. This box looked far older than any she had seen so far. Its carvings glowed softly as if alive, and Mina felt a deep sense of reverence. Mina approached the box slowly. She examined the carvings and noticed patterns that matched designs in the leather-bound book.
Carefully, she lifted the lid. Inside, she found a collection of the most extraordinary inventions she had ever seen.
Some were miniature machines with precise gears. Others were wooden models that moved as if powered by magic. There were also letters explaining the vision of the inventor. They spoke of creating a place where curiosity, patience, and creativity could flourish. A legacy for someone who could understand and carry it forward. Mina sat quietly, absorbing everything she saw. She realized that the secret of the workshop was not just about the objects themselves. It was about the ideas behind them, the passion of the inventor, and the invitation to continue the work. The hidden room, the letters, and the inventions were all a test, guiding her toward understanding the heart of the workshop. With a sense of purpose, Mina carefully organized the objects and read through the letters again. She felt a deep connection to the person who had built this place long ago. Their vision had waited for her to arrive, and now it was her turn to continue it. Mina understood that the greatest secret of the workshop was the trust and responsibility it offered to someone patient, curious, and dedicated. As the sunlight faded outside, Mina sat in the chamber thinking about the possibilities. She knew that the adventure of the workshop was just beginning. There was so much to learn, create, and discover. The workshop had become a part of her life, and she was ready to embrace its full potential. Mina smiled, feeling a mixture of excitement and gratitude. The hidden room, the inventions, and the letters had revealed the true purpose of the workshop. It was a place of imagination, learning, and dreams. She knew that by continuing the work, She would honor the legacy of the inventor and keep the workshop alive for many years to come. The next morning, Mina returned to the workshop with a heart full of purpose. The hidden underground chamber had revealed the greatest secret of the workshop, and she now understood that her role was not just to explore, but to continue the work of the inventor. She felt a deep responsibility, but also a sense of excitement and pride. This was her chance to bring the workshop fully to life. Mina began her day by organizing the chamber. She carefully placed each invention in its proper place, checking the letters and notes for instructions. She wanted to understand everything fully before starting her own creations. As she worked, she realized that the workshop was like a puzzle. Each invention, each note, and each hidden room was a piece that fit together. Slowly, she began to see the bigger picture, the vision of the inventor and the future possibilities. Once everything was arranged, Mina decided to start experimenting. She picked one of the small mechanical devices from the pedestal and studied it closely. The gears moved smoothly, and she realized that it could be combined with another invention she had seen in the hidden room. She worked carefully, testing ideas and adjusting pieces. Hours passed, but Mina did not feel tired. The workshop seemed to encourage her, as if it were alive and supporting her creativity. As she experimented, Mina discovered a pattern. The inventions were designed to work together, not separately. She began combining machines and tools, creating small functioning systems. Some produced simple movements while others demonstrated more complex actions. Each success filled her with joy and determination. She felt connected to the inventor, understanding the care and thought that had gone into every creation. By late afternoon, Mina had created a small system that could perform a series of actions automatically. She had combined gears, levers, and pulleys to make a machine that moved precisely, almost like it had a life of its own. She stepped back, admiring her work. The room felt alive with energy and possibility. Mina realized that this was the real secret of the workshop, the power of imagination, patience, and careful work to create something greater than oneself. Mina smiled as she looked around. She knew that she had only begun to uncover the workshop's potential. The hidden room, the letters, and the inventions were just the beginning. The real adventure was in bringing the workshop to life, in exploring ideas and in sharing the knowledge and creativity it held. She could imagine workshops full of people learning, experimenting, and discovering just as she had. With a sense of excitement, Mina began documenting her work. She wrote notes, sketched diagrams, and created instructions for how each invention could be used. She wanted to ensure that the knowledge of the workshop could continue to grow, just as the original inventor had intended. She knew that the workshop's legacy was not just in the objects, but in the ideas, the creativity, and the encouragement to explore. As the sun began to set, Mina stepped outside the workshop. The building looked beautiful in the golden light, surrounded by the ivy and wildflowers. She felt a deep sense of satisfaction. The workshop was no longer abandoned. It was alive, full of stories, discoveries, and possibilities. She knew that she had found her purpose and that she would continue to grow alongside the workshop, learning and creating every day. Mina looked back at the workshop, feeling a quiet pride and joy. She had discovered the hidden secrets, understood the vision of the inventor, and begun to continue the work. The workshop had chosen her, and she had embraced its challenge with patience, curiosity, and dedication. She knew that many adventures still awaited her within its walls. With determination in her heart and a smile on her face, Mina stepped back inside. The workshop was alive with ideas, energy, and the spirit of creativity. She had restored the abandoned building, uncovered its greatest secret, and brought it back to life. The future was bright, and Mina was ready to continue the journey, knowing that the workshop's story would grow even more, guided by her hands, her heart, and her imagination.